I don't know about you, but I've never witnessed anything quite like this. The Prime Minister absent for 7 or so days, and then clearly a mess by number 10. Lord MacDonald weighing in this morning, and now resignations by 2 of those high officers of state.
Yeah, I think an apology too far, really. I was saying this morning that, at some point or other, people will say, can we trust anything that Boris Johnson says? Because it's not the issue itself. It's not necessarily the problem with one MP who couldn't keep his hands to himself. It's yet another problem that Boris Johnson has created for himself, which he can't seem to get out of. And he's changed his story. I mean, I said when I left the show today, there'll be another story tomorrow. It'll be another line. And so, of course, at about, half an hour ago, we saw he apologises for something that he said he didn't remember after he'd said that it didn't happen. So, it's all sounding very familiar. I'm actually, funnily enough, in Westminster at the moment. You might be able to see Horse Guards Parade behind me. I'm thinking of popping down to Downing Street and saying, look, do you want somebody to give you some proper bleeding advice? Because you haven't got anybody in there that's any good.
Well, clearly they haven't. I mean, what on earth is number 10 doing? Because you cannot then brief and rebrief and change what you're saying, because we're not stupid. talkTV viewers are not stupid, and all of them can see they saw this coming a mile off.
Well, exactly right. And a lot of people who are the die-hard Boris fans say, this is all Boris bashing. I had to explain to somebody today, this is not Boris bashing. This could have all been dealt with very easily and very simply on day one if Boris had said, look, we thought we'd give this guy a second chance. We were wrong. We made a mistake. We shouldn't have done it. We're sorry. And he's no longer in the Conservative Party. End of story. None of this would be happening. But this was the final kind of tipping point, I think, for people like Rishi Sunak and Sajid Javid. Obviously, they planned this. Obviously, they thought, we'll just wait for the moment, because if you're a Boris watcher, you know this point is coming. Whether it was today, whether it was next week, whether it was December, it was coming.
I said this on Drive last night. I knew something was going to happen. I didn't realise it would be this quick. Interestingly, Many of our viewers are saying the same sort of things. Frank in Bromley says, David, the bigger issue here is incompetence. There was a paper trail. He didn't use it to refresh his memory. He didn't realise that the paper trail would catch him out. It's useless. He's not bright, and he's a very potentially dangerous buffoon. Clearly, people not on the side of the Prime Minister.
Yeah, I think that's right. And obviously there are Tory party MPs and also Tory party constituency sort of committees who are very uneasy about what happened in Wakefield, very uneasy about what happened in Tiverton. Let's face it, this is a guy who came in with an 80-seat majority. All he's managed to do is whittle it down to 75. Now, I know it's a long way away to lose all of those, but he doesn't show any sign of winning an election anytime soon.
I mean, it's extraordinary. And the fact Pincher is still in place, I mean, he sits as an independent, but clearly there hasn't been a by-election called. I mean, that is a given now, isn't it?
Well, surely you'd have to say that he will now have to resign. And I said this again today. I said, the inevitability of that means that it will happen. Like everything with Boris Johnson, he has now apologised for something he said he didn't know about. What's he apologising for? In the same way that he apologised for a party that he said he wasn't at. I mean, I think the game is up as far as this is concerned, and I think it's going to be a fascinating evening. I'm actually going to be on the talk later on, as it turns out, because they're going to go a little bit later on at 10 o'clock. So I'm going to have to interrupt my dessert to come back and save the country from what can only be a night of the long knives.
Well, I mean, absolutely extraordinary. Mike, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I'll see you back here at talkTV Towers. I mean, all of you are saying pretty much the same thing here. Alan in Wellingborough saying, Uxbridge by-election, here we come. That, of course, is Boris Johnson's seat. Another Prime Minister who promised Brexit but never delivered. How true those words are. It's not time for a general election. It's time for a new kind of election. So that really is the big question for me. Clearly, we've got Pincher and that election that will take place, no doubt, in that constituency. And then Boris Johnson, is his position tenable? I don't know. I don't know how much longer he can hang on, but obviously Boris Johnson has form. But to lose those 2 massive ministers, the Health Secretary, Sajid Javid, and, of course, the Chancellor, Rishi Sunak, is quite extraordinary, and it happened so fast. So we are now on resignation watch. We're watching to see whether other letters do indeed come in. Priti Patel, Kwasi Kwarteng will stay in government, will support the Prime Minister. Don't go anywhere. This is talkTV. We're broadcasting live from the Talk Radio studios.